What's going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Lonnie from Flight Sim Gaming. Today we are doing another flight here in the Aerosoft CRJ-900. We are flying from Vancouver all the way up to Yellowknife. This is a real-world flight flown by Air Canada Jazz. Got the call sign up top. Jazz 478. This flight is actually live at the time of this recording, which is pretty cool. And this will be our last flight in the RJ for the time being. From Yellowknife, we're going to be back in the 737, but should be a beautiful flight. The winds aren't overly too aggressive. Sometimes when you're heading into Yellowknife, visibility and weather is a bit of a problem, especially during this time of year. But the winds look pretty good, and they're landing on the 3-4. On the 3-4 runway, so at least we'll get an ILS approach, and it looks pretty clear. As you can see here in Vancouver, you know, it's pretty overcast. It's about 1:30 p.m. in the simulator, pretty close to when the real-world aircraft departed from. I believe they actually departed at about 2 p.m. local time, so we'll try to sort of match how the real-world flight is kind of taking place at the present time. But anyways, we got GSX loading up. Again, real-world flight. This flight's about 2 hours in the air. And let's jump inside. Let's get the aircraft ready to go here so we can get ourselves out of here, as promised. 3 videos this week. Tried to space them out as best as I could, because we want to kind of get this, I guess, Canadian tour kind of over with. Some people like the content. Some others, you know, they're kind of bored of seeing the same country, I guess.
Passengers boarding starting.
But we're almost there. We only got 4 legs left, which is a positive sign. Let's get the tablets, get the zero fuel weight and all that stuff plugged in here. So we have a estimated zero fuel weight of 29,680. So we're gonna go ahead and clear this 29,680, and we are following the checklist here as well. If you guys want to tag along and see how I kind of set things up, you can. This aircraft has been in the simulator for a little bit now. I'm sure a lot of you are used to it. Anyway, that's all plugged in there. Now we got to come down to the FMS. We'll plug the rest of our information in. We'll take the FMS pause, we'll plug it in and set it. If we come over to the flight plan tab, we're going to plug in our flight plan information. So, origin. We're here in Vancouver. By the way, I did change out the scenery. This is the FSIMSTUDIOS version. We are still doing frame gen, as you can see, 80 FPS right now. This airport is typically heavy on performance, but, you know, in the CRJ, performance is always good. So, I got rid of it was the FS Dream Team was what I had, so got rid of that one. I thought I had the FSIMSTUDIOS one. And we are departing off of 08 right here in Vancouver. I'll make sure to plug that in as well. Beautiful. We'll execute that. Over to the departure arrival tab here. So, off of runway 08 right, we are going to be on the Vancouver 2 departure for runway 08 right. We'll plug that in, execute. Come back over to the flight plan tab. Go to page number 2. Let's plug in the rest of our waypoints. It's radar vectors off of runway 08 right, and then we are going to make a left turn to Gary. From Gary, it's going to be direct YQU. Not sure what VOR that is. And then it's direct YOJ, Yankee Oscar Juliet. And from there, over to the Hay River VOR, which is YHY. And then it's on to, I guess, the approach. There is no approach in Yellowknife. It's basically vectors to final. We are going to go back over to the arrival index. We'll plug in our arrival information. We are expecting the ILS 34 approach. And I'm not sure which one we should do. Let's have a look. We'll actually do it from a group. Because we are coming from the west. And we'll leave it coming from the west. We'll execute that.
I'm doing good. Good evening, ma'am.
Let's have a look at our legs.
I'm doing good.
Clear some discons. If you don't clear your discons in the FMS, you're not going to get a top of descent marker. Just an FYI in the CRJ. And all of our stuff's there. Beautiful. If we come over to the flight plan tab again, we're going to go to perf init. We're going to make sure, so even though we plugged in our zero fuel weight information in the tablet, it did not actually set in the FMS. So we'll go ahead, set payload in simulator, and copy perf init data to FMS. All of that is now plugged in. Cruise alt. We're expecting 37,000 feet. We'll plug that in, execute. We'll come over to the VNAV setup here. Again, this is our speed information. Transalt, all of that looks good. Transalt on our descent is also 18,000 feet. Beautiful. And that is really about it. See, top of descent marker up there. You're not going to see that with any type of vectoring plugged in there. Make sure you clear all of that. If we start doing our checklists, because we are good pilots and we are now doing checklists. Safety checks, we've already done that. Cockpit preparation. We got the bags loading up, but what we can do is we'll come up top here. APU power. We'll turn it on. We'll make sure the flap, the APU door opens. And then we'll go ahead and start it. Pretty cool APU sounds. APU RPM is rising. So is the temperature. Beautiful. We're all on. If we go back to our checklist here, nav and logo lights are already on. The IRS 1 and 2 is set to nav. Packs left and right will turn on. Recirc is coming on. Windshield heat goes over to low. ELT is armed. And come down here. Thrust reversers. We'll arm those. Flaps 6.8. So I'm actually going to lower the flaps. We are going to do... We'll go 6.5 on the flaps. Stab trim. Mach trim. Yaw dampener. Everything can go on. Beautiful. We'll quickly plug in our nav frequency. Nav frequency ILS 34 in Yellowknife is 109.5. So we'll click that. Plug that in. Beautiful. That is all set. We'll come over down here. TCAS, we'll set it to 2000. No need to touch any of that. Beautiful. Make sure that's all set. Sounds like boarding has been completed. So we'll come over to the aircraft. We will disconnect the GPU. Wheels and chocks. We'll close our doors. We will remove.
Captain, the cabin is secure. All passengers are aboard.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the captain and crew, welcome aboard this flight. We hope you enjoy flying with us. Before takeoff, we would like to encourage all passengers to watch our cabin crew display the safety features of the aircraft.
$2978 is the altimeter currently. I'll brief the departure information momentarily. Runway heading 083. Beautiful. We'll open up Navigraph. We'll have a look at our weather information and our pretty much the departure briefing here. We are departing off of runway 08 right. If we come down here, we're going to read our information. 08 left or right, climb heading 083 or as assigned by ATC, maintain 7000 or as assigned, expect radar vectors to filed, assigned route, and clearance to flight plan altitude 5 minutes after departure. Wind information 090 at 4, few clouds at 7000, broken clouds at 9200 feet, overcast at 14,000. We're not going to get many views here. As you can see, it's pretty cloudy. It's 11 degrees, altimeter 2978. And if we go ahead and do this, it'll show us where we are. We might as well brief ourselves for the taxi as well. Gate 39, we're going to go ahead nose right, tail left. And it's basically Lima over to Lima 4, hold short of 08 right. That's about it. Anyways, cockpit's all set up here. Before engine start, ground equipment removed, wheels and shocks removed, doors are closed, passenger signs are on, landing elevation. Let's go ahead and set our landing elevation. I think it's about 600 feet. If I look, okay, 675 feet. $680 feet. Perfect. Landing elevation is set, QNH is set, FMS is set, autopilot altitude and runway headings are set, V-speeds are set all. Transponder is set, trims are set, boost pumps left and right are on, hydraulic pumps auto and on, and what we can do now is come over to GSX, request pushback. I'm following the actual checklist here from my cell phone. Exactly what we're doing here is exactly what I'm following. Just easier, more convenient to follow it on the phone.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Yeah, I think the scenery is much better than FS Dream Team. I have pretty much all of their scenery from FSIMSTUDIOS.
Departure checks completed. Bypass pin inserted.
Beacon light coming on. Hope everybody's enjoying the content. We've passed 1,000 subs on the channel. It's very, very, very exciting. Just want to thank everybody once again. Thank you for your continued support. All the love. I appreciate everything. You guys don't batter me too much in terms of kind of how we operate over here at Flight Sim Gaming. I'm very grateful for everybody. Very grateful. 1,000 subs have come up. That means we are going to be doing live streaming. It is coming. Definitely in the new year. I'm in the process of starting to set it up now, in terms of what I want for, I guess, my intro and outro overlays and things like that. Nose right, tail left. So it is coming.
Parking brakes, please.
Also 1,000 subs. That means
Start at will.
that means we have to do a giveaway. Definitely doing a giveaway. Engine number 2's coming on, waiting for a 20% N2. Definitely going to be doing a giveaway. Most likely a Sim Market gift voucher. We'll do that. Probably for $50. Just as a token of appreciation from everybody out here. Forget which. There it is. There's the broken fan blades. I'm almost certain that's caused because of the frame gen mod. I almost want to remove it just to see what happens. A lot of people also asking about the frame gen mod. Where can I get it? How can I get it? I have included in the previous video, in the video description, of how you can download it. There are many tutorials on how to do it.
During an emergency, please remain in your seats with your seatbelts fastened and your seats in the upright position. In case of a drop in cabin pressure, breathing masks will drop from the ceiling and should be placed over your head. If there is smoke in the cabin,
Engine number one,
evacuation of the
waiting for a
aircraft,
20%
the walkway emergency
and
lights
2.
will display to the exits, which are located here and here. In case of an extreme emergency,
But yes, I'll make sure to include in the description of this video as well how to, where you can find those mods at, what's going on with pushback. Alright. That worked out lovely. Thank you, GSX.
Please set parking brakes.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Fantastic. Turn up some of the floodlights. 2 good engines. Come back up top here. Probe heats. Left and right are coming on. Anti-ice as required. Taxi lights coming on. APU start stop. We are going to stop it. We are also going to shut off the ignition. Make sure we close that APU door. Nose wheel steering armed. Part of the checklist. It doesn't show the flaps. We are flaps 8. Bam, bam.
Right is clear.
See if we get it. Ah, yes. Here we go. Ah, yes. Turn up some floodlighting here. Beautiful. Make sure everything's looking good up here. All of our lights are on. Strobe lights will stay off till we hit the runway. Ignition's off. APU's off. Probe heats are on. Windshield heats are low. Bada bing. Bada boom. And then we gotta hit this guy. And I'm just gonna go ahead and turn TCAS on. And again, taxi routing, Lima, all the way to the runway. We'll hold short of Lima 4. We'll basically do a left loop, sorry, a right loop. We're going to cross runway 13. We're going to keep her going. We'll make a left. We'll park. We'll pretend to park, and then we'll make a left. Center ourselves, and the plan is, hopefully, a smooth takeoff. Hopefully. Alright, park brake coming off. Let's get the f out of here. Yellowknife. So Yellowknife, it's kind of a weird little place to fly. It's basically in the middle of nowhere. Usually the conditions are set to 0. Parking brake is on. Parking brake is off. There we go. We're rolling. And the scenery is done by Project Max. Project Max. So I think it's the only scenery we have in the simulator at the moment. It's one of his first sceneries. It's not the best detailed, but at least it gets you to Yellowknife. It gets you up there, up in the Yukons, you know? Northwest Territories. God, the weather looks terrible out here. But ultra smooth sim. Gotta love that. From Yellowknife, we are headed to Whitehorse. Got some blinking there on the taxiway. I don't know if that's because of the mod. Let's have a look on the outside view, what happens. They're still blinking. But anyway, we are going over to Whitehorse in the 737-700 with Air North, I believe. I think it's Air North. They got some 500s. I think Air North also has a 737-700. That route's not operated. Now, the flight from Yellowknife to Whitehorse, if I'm not mistaken, it's a connecting flight from Toronto to Whitehorse. So it's not a route that is just flown. I think it's the flight going back westbound from Toronto, stops over in Yellowknife, from Yellowknife over to Whitehorse. I believe from Whitehorse it's a direct flight back to Toronto on that route, if I'm not mistaken. I also believe Air North goes to Vancouver and Edmonton. We are going to Edmonton from Whitehorse. Should be pretty cool. Almost done. Doing a little showcase here of Canada. I'm going to go ahead and put my nose lights on, just because it's looking a little bit dark outside, you know what I mean? But yeah, you know, it's not too much Canadian, I guess, showings of the certain sceneries put out on YouTube and all that. Typical flights, Toronto, you know, Vancouver, that kind of stuff. Saskatoon was pretty cool. I got a lot of positive feedback on any flight out of Saskatoon. I want to thank everybody, you know, who tuned in for that. It's definitely a different airport to fly into. Maybe one day FSIMSTUDIOS can, I guess, do the majority of the Canadian airports and sceneries out here. Would be nice to get a proper, you know, Quebec City. Somebody had mentioned in one of my comments about getting Quebec City. That'd be pretty cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has advised that we are now cleared for takeoff.
This should be Lima 4. Landing lights coming on. Strobes. We're strobing. Alright, ladies and gents, radar vectors out. Runway heading. We're maintaining 7,000 for now. We are going up all the way up 37,000 feet on today's journey. Alright, throttle's up 40%. And Toga. Toga is set. We'll maintain center line. She is a spicy aircraft. You can already feel the wind pulling there. 80 knots checked. Oh, little bump there in the runway. And don't know where my V-speeds are, but V1. And rotate. Positive rate of climb. Gear going up. Little bumpy. We're going to go ahead, speed mode. And heading mode. See you later, alligator. Take it up 37,000 feet. And we're going to go climb. Thrust is set. We'll pitch down. We'll increase the speed. 210 knots. And we're going to go direct Gary. Execute. Nav. Gets busy real quick. Flaps 1. Flaps full. Autopilot coming on. And we're going up 240 knots, sorry, 250 knots on the speed. Let's get some wing views out. Nope. Ah, there we go. Gonna be flying over beautiful downtown Vancouver. As we come up into the clouds, it's very nice to see a very smooth simulator. Beautiful. Not much to see anymore. Let's come back inside, make sure the airplane is doing what it's supposed to be doing. Let's go ahead, sync our heading. We'll disarm the reverse thrusts. Beautiful. We'll get the anti-ice on as we climb through the clouds here. I think the rule of thumb is below 7 degrees. Well, we're getting close to it, so. Yeah, I guess, I don't know what happened to my V-speeds. I know I set them. I know I set them. But typically you take off at about 149 knots. So I think I was within that, so. $10,000 feet. Let's go ahead. Landing lights off. We'll increase the speed. We're going up 290. Beautiful. Wonder if the terrain radar works. Probably not above 10,000 feet, right? To be honest, I don't know. Beautiful breakout. Get rid of that anti-ice. Beautiful. Alright, ladies and gents, I'm gonna take the aircraft up to 37,000 feet, and I'll catch y'all on the descent into Yellowknife. Should be clear conditions. Again, about a 2-hour leg here. We'll catch y'all in a bit, ladies and gents. Enjoy the rest of the video. Peace! What's going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the video. We are on the descent into Yellowknife. We are expecting the ILS 34 approach. Descending down just about to pass 19,000 feet currently. Everything going normal as planned here. As you can see, we have the sun starting to set. Now, I did sort of cheat the time a little bit. You know, if we use the time that we used back in Vancouver, it's pretty much nighttime out here, so I wanted to make sure we got proper views because it's too dark, you can't see anything. We're gonna go ahead, altimeter 3009, coming up on 18,000 feet, left, right, and center. No star coming into Yellowknife, but we are on an approach for the ILS 34 approach. The winds are forever changing. They might not even be landing on the 3-4s anymore. We're still going to go for it. We probably should be landing on the 1-6. It's probably what we should be doing. I might look into that momentarily, but anyway, this is the approach. Basically, it's a straight-in landing. We got to be above 2,800 feet by Omtex, I believe, and then we'll descend down. Minimums are 872, 18,000 feet for trans, and the winds are 090 at 5, broken clouds at 1,000, it's minus 10, altimeter 3009. Quickly gonna do some research here just to make sure that this wind information is correct, because we want to land on the right runway. So looks like the winds are current 090 at 5 knots currently. Aircraft are expecting the RNAV 16 approach. So if we come back into the simulator here, start to shallow out our descent, just because I do have to change the approach now based off of the winds. We are going to do the RNAV Zulu for RNAV 16 Zulu approach, and it's going to be, let's get a transition here, Aleru, and we'll plug that in. And we'll shallow out the descent just because we have changed the approach now based off of the winds. You know, these things always happen, you know, on the approach. The aircrafts are actually just landing on the ILS 34, but we'll have a crazy, I guess, tailwind approach, and we don't want to do that. If you ever landed an aircraft in a tailwind, it's not nice by any means. Anyway, coming up on 13,000 feet, it's going to get busy now. We'll get the aircraft down to 250, and we'll make sure the aircraft is in nav mode. Once you change the approach, it's automatically going to just follow a heading, so you have to make sure you go back into nav mode. Beautiful. No ILS on the 16s. On the 16 runway, it's just an RNAV approach. This aircraft is not equipped with RNAV capability, so we are going to manage our vertical speed down to the runway. Pretty standard. And we'll descend at about 1,000 feet per minute, and we are going down to 2,000. The aircraft right now is kind of hunting to get itself back on the navigation. One of the bugs with this aircraft, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't sort of navigate smoothly in that sense. That's one of the problems with the Direct 2. So there was supposed to be an update with that, along with the pitch access. When you hit Direct 2, the aircraft, rather than do a nice, you know, round turn, it's like a sharp turn, and then tries to get itself established on for a little bit. If that makes any sense. Anyway, let's focus here. Airport is going to be out over here somewhere. And we might actually even get maybe a nighttime approach. I hope not. Not much to see in the nighttime out here. No auto throttle in this aircraft, so you have to make sure you're always keeping up your speed. It's one of the things about flying this aircraft. It's very hands-on. Keeps you on your toes. But anyway, let's go ahead and start the descent checklist. We should have already done it. Landing elevation is set. Fuel, we've checked that. TCAS as required. Radar terrain display as required. Landing data. We're not going to set any of that yet. There is no landing data information in here. So we will just kind of leave it as is. And the approach checklist, we're not there yet. We don't need to worry. Coming up on 10,000 feet. Make sure we get our landing lights on. I believe we have a speed restriction at Alero 210. 210 is where we need to be. And in the meantime, we can adjust our minimums because we are no longer on the ILS-34 approach. If we look at the RNAV Zulu for runway 16, our LNAV VNAV is going to be 926. 930 is set in there. Fantastic. 10,000 feet coming up. Not much to see with these wing views, but it is a beautiful approach. Keep shallowing out that descent, that vertical speed. Basically, you want to descend via this snowflake here. It'll tell you here what they want you to be at. It looks like about 600 feet per minute. So we can actually do that right now. And the speed is winding back. We're going to go ahead and bug 210 on the speed. And it's going to be a flaps 45 landing. Standard in this aircraft. Flaps 45. Once again, ladies and gents, if you guys are enjoying the content, don't forget to smash down the thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel if you have not. Actually surprised, the last video that we put out was a CRJ video. It's been a while since we've been in the CRJ. I think it was about close to 8 months, maybe 10 months. Really good feedback. People seem to be enjoying the CRJ content, which is good. It's always nice to see people kind of jumping back in these aircrafts. This aircraft, I believe, was probably one of the first real payware aircraft that came out into the sim. We had the fly-by-wire A320, but in terms of payware, this was the aircraft. And not a bad little aircraft. Once you get to know how to fly it, very, very hands-on. So you got to make sure that you're on your ones and twos. FSIMSTUDIOS will be releasing, I believe, an update for their Embraer series jets on the, I think, the 2nd or 3rd of January. Once they do an update, we'll make sure to get a video out for that. I wanted to do some Breeze Airways ops. We're going to fly out of Provo, I think, to Denver. That's the plan. I know Breeze Airways, there's not many aircraft. They don't own many aircraft, but they're kind of like all over the place in terms of where they fly and stuff. So There's a little glide slope there. Snowflake, little 600 feet per minute, still looking good. Kind of weird how the FMS kind of sets the actual flight plan here. I don't know how I want to take this approach. I have already done a practice flight. It's really choppy as it comes in for final. We'll keep it. We'll see what happens. Alright, we'll do the approach checklist. Barrow set. Lights are set, and passenger signs as required. Approach checklist complete. We'll get it down to about 210. Not much to see out here in Yellowknife. We coming up on the airport. I believe it's right over here. Let's go back outside. Let's have a look. Should see some runway lights. I believe it's right in here is where we're going. That is the airport. We're at 210. Maintain the speed. Got our fixed rings in there, 10 miles and 5-mile rings. Once we start our base towards final, we're gonna go ahead flaps 1, and then we'll lower the speed down to about 190. Finally, we get some snow action on this little trip across Canada. We had some snow back in Montreal. Beautiful, beautiful. One day I would enjoy coming out here. It's not a place where you would take the family. I don't think there's not much going on, but something I definitely want to do. Knowing you can get flights out of Toronto with Air North. I believe it's Air North. If it's not Air North, it's Canadian North. I forget which one comes out here. But or maybe even Air Canada. I believe Air Canada flies some A319s out here. Pretty cool. We'll double check the altimeter. 3009, 3009. The winds are still 090 at 5 knots. There we go, starting our turn now. We're going to go ahead. We'll go flaps 1. About 190 in the speed. In the speed column. We're still descending at about 600 feet per minute. Again, the scenery is done by Project Max. I'll put all the scenery description down in the video description in case you guys want to check out some scenery. Final approach course, we have 160. I'm just going to go ahead and plug that in now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to land. Please notice the cabin lights have been turned off, as this is a normal procedure for a nighttime landing.
Minimums. 200. 100.
Sync rate.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
until the aircraft has come to a complete stop.
I believe I have my mic muted there again. Got a bad habit of doing that, ladies and gents. If I get a bug in my throat, I mute my mic. I was just rambling off there with the APU on. So what I did was I was doing the after landing checklist. Spoilers retracted. APU restarted. Transponder went over to standby. Radar, we can turn that off. Landing lights, we'll keep it on. Strobe lights, we're on the runway, we'll keep it on. Probe heats went off. Not too shabby of a landing. And welcome down to Yellowknife. Not too shabby of a landing. I'll take what I can take in this aircraft. I'm not, I don't have many hours flying it. Landing lights are coming off. Strobe lights can come off. Again, Project Max, Yellowknife, it's basically all that we have. It's not the most detailed scenery. I don't see GSX here. I picked the wrong thing. There we go. Beautiful. Gate number 3. It's kind of weird. GSX doesn't set itself up on the actual line here. But we will make sure we are set up on the line. Turn off the rest of our lights there. Pretty terrible parking job, I must say. That's okay. Let's swing her back in. Parker brake coming on. We will make sure, so APU is on and available. Throttle 1 and 2 can come off. Come back upstairs. Anti-ice off, passenger signs. It's not clickable. Off. Beautiful. Boost pumps can come off. Hydraulics all can come off. Beacon light will shut her down. APU is on and running. We'll make sure to add the ground power unit. We'll wheels and shocks first, then the GPU. We'll go ahead and open up all the doors, and we will request deboarding.
Requested.
Beautiful, ladies and gents. This is it. This is what the terminal looks like. Not much going on here in Yellowknife. It's kind of all that what they need out here, but nevertheless, still another nice, beautiful spot to come to when flying in Canada.
Passengers bus is coming.
Just want to take time to say thank you to everybody who comes out to support the channel. If you have not yet, don't forget to smash down that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you have not. And next flight, we are departing Yellowknife, heading out to Whitehorse. That'll be a fun flight. It will be with Air North, I believe, in the 737-700. So stay tuned for that. That'll happen next week. We are going to conclude the rest of our Canadian series next week with 3 scheduled flights all the way down to Victoria. So we get to check out another airport on the channel. But anyways, ladies and gents, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Catch y'all in the next video. Peace!